All right, for more on this, let's bring in Maslansky and Partners president and partner Lee Carter, along with the host of the Ben Ferguson Show and co-host of The Verdict with Ted Cruz, Ben Ferguson. Both of you, welcome. Lee, these polls are all wrong. Joe Biden is winning, and inflation was 9% when he took office.
Numbers are all lies. Lies, I tell you, except they were absolutely right in 2020. So I just think it's ironic. He's in denial, and this is what candidates do. Donald Trump said it when he was down in the polls. He said they're fake polls and all of that. But the numbers are the numbers. And in fact, we've never seen numbers like this. Donald Trump never led in the polls. He didn't lead in 2016. He didn't lead in 2020. And he is leading now. He has always overperformed in the polls. That's one of the things you have to watch. The other thing I think is really interesting, Joe Biden's biggest problem is he's completely out of touch with the American voter. When he talks about, it's not just lies, he's out of touch. 64% of Democrats think America is out of control. 81% of Republicans, 75% of independents. The country is out of control. His slow and steady hand isn't making anybody feel calm or better. And so I think he's in for a big surprise if he's going to deny the polls, because the October surprise could be that he's going to lose.
Ooh.
Ben, I just want to point out that, speaking of panic, according to these new Fox polls, Biden's losing support in all key demographics surveyed, most notably a 14-point decrease among voters under the age of 30. And it's actually Gen Z whose credit cards are the most maxed out, which we found out from the Federal Reserve report on consumer finances.
You can buy those votes by just paying off all their student loan debt. It's not that hard. Just buy votes, and that's what they're doing now.
But that's just not working. That's the whole point.
But it will at the moment, right? So look, this is the Joe Biden plan. You throw the aviators on, you make a crack at Donald Trump today, and you say, hey, maybe you can debate me on a Wednesday because you're basically in prison right now in New York, forcing to defend yourself on egregious charges. Wink, wink, that's my guys that did that to you. And then you have the bigger problem. And this is where I do think they're concerned in the White House. If you're 35 and under, you're not a Democrat anymore if you're in the Democratic Party. You're a communist, you're a socialist, you're a Marxist. And so that's why he's had to say, hey, Israel, sorry, I can't be with you anymore right now. It's going to hurt me with these people that won't show up on Election Day. So now you got to buy their vote back. How do you buy it back? We've seen it over and over again. I'm going to pay off all your debt. I'm going to pay every bit of it off from college because I'm on your team and you shouldn't have to pay for college no matter if you failed out, dropped out, or just got too high. Because I'm Joe Biden, I'm here to pay your debt off. And so he's now basically a candidate that can't win without the extreme, and he can't win if he's traditional and stands up to the extreme. Like, this guy is screwed right now as a candidate, and it's really fun to watch.
And the Democrat Party created this problem with helping radicalize these youth, but also trying to win these moderate middle Democrats. But if Democrats weren't panicked enough, former President Trump has gladly accepted Biden's challenge to at least 2 debates. So in other words, it's about to go down.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
Oh, ho, 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 that's funny. But Trump's ready to bring it, telling Fox News Digital, quote, crooked Joe Biden is the worst debater I have ever faced. He can't put 2 sentences together. Let's see if Joe can make it to the stand-up podium. Lee, listen, I'm fascinated that Joe Biden is going to debate. I can't imagine any pathway, no matter what rules they put in, that this could bode well for Joe.
You can't imagine that it does, because if you look at Joe Biden 3.5 years ago versus today, it's a very different person. He's not as quick, and he was able to perform adequately in 2020. I don't know how he's going to perform now. Donald Trump is ready, he's ready to go. And he has not changed in the same way that Joe Biden has. And so I think it's going to be a really tough debate for Joe Biden. I think he's trying to, push it to the edge, and I think it could really backfire for him.
I think this is a ploy by the Biden campaign. They already started out no audience, no Trump remarks, only Biden-friendly outlets. I think that they're going to try to, eliminated the Presidential Debate Commission. They're going to try make all these demands, pile them on, throw in, as I said earlier, sand in the gears of all this, and then blame President Trump's campaign for botching it. I don't think they ever debate. This is the way they throw it.
If I was Donald Trump, I would plan on it being one debate because they've already given you every reason why they wouldn't do debate number 2. Like, he doesn't abide by the rules, right? And you can't arrest him for that. I don't think. Maybe they can. Maybe they'll figure out a way. But if you look at what they said, no. Why did they say no audience? It's because of what happened, the disaster when they did the town hall with Trump on CNN, and Caitlin Collins thought she was going to stick it to Trump. And what happened? The audience turned on CNN. And it was a great audience for Donald Trump. And so I'm sure they saw it and go, all right, we can't have that. So let's take that off the table. And then let's say if he doesn't do everything by the way we agreed to the rules being, whatever that looks like, then we can pull him from the second debate. And notice how they did this first debate so early. It's in June. It's a long way from November. That is because they're hoping that if it is a disaster, no one will remember it come Election Day. And there's a lot of people in America in June that aren't going to be paying attention to this debate because it's so early on in the cycle. And one last thing I'll say, if you guys look at that video and you forget the words, did you notice how many cuts there were? Every statement, it was a cut, and then it was another cut, and then it's another cut. I'm like, the President of the United States of America can't do a 30-second trash-talking video? You have to do 5 different cuts to get 30 seconds of usable time.
It was 13 seconds.
13 seconds. Okay, there you go. I was giving him too much credit. But it was cut after cut after cut. And I'm like, how hard is it for the president to sit there? You should be able to get up for that stuff.
Well, out of fairness, it's either that he can't make it 13 seconds, which is bad, or he's trying to lure the TikTok, and that's equally bad.
This is right before the 4th of July weekend. I don't care. America is going to tune in and watch this debate, and it'll relive on air, replayed over and over again. And by the way, I've done enough campaigns. Debates can shake things up.
Sure.
And if you're behind, you want to debate. If you're ahead, you don't want to do any debates. That's the way it works in politics. Joe Biden, just by agreeing to debates, understands fully these polls that he's behind and has to shake this campaign up. Real quick, am I right, Lee Carter?
You're absolutely right.
I knew I was.
And he's got to get some kind of attention right now. But I also agree with Dagan. He's trying to set up the rules so that it's rigged for him. And I think a lot of people are going to see through that. I don't think it's going to work to his favor.
He's trying to tank it on purpose and blame Trump because there's no middle guy. I don't think it ever happens. But let's get to this. And amid all the excitement over the debates, the middle child of the presidential race, Bobby Kennedy Jr. is feeling left out of all the fun. The independent presidential candidate posting in part on X, quote, "They're trying to exclude me from their debate because they're afraid I would win. Keeping viable candidates off the debate stage undermines democracy." But voters just don't really care. 29% say it's not important at all that RFK Jr. is included in the debates. But if you look at the other 3, you've got 69% who say it's extremely, very, or somewhat important. So that's a huge percentage, Ben.
Absolutely.
That's a huge percentage. Sorry, I just went shrill.
No, if I'm Donald Trump, I want him on the stage because I think it only hurts Joe Biden. And I think the polls have seen that. There was this early on concern that RFK was going to take a lot of conservative votes because of his stance on COVID and some of the things he said that went viral early on. But if you go back and remind people who he is, he's not taking votes from Republicans. He's not taking vote from Donald Trump. He's going to take from Joe Biden. So if I was Trump, I'd be tweeting out or truthing out, hey, come on down, buddy. But that would be a disaster for this White House, and they would never agree to it.
And that is why Joe Biden has made sure Bobby Kennedy will not be on the stage during this debate. Lee Carter, Ben Ferguson, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. I was so insightful. I love the polling data from Lee Carter. And you too, Ben.
Thank you. I try.
And not so much the shrill me when I get upset.
I'm fine with that once in a while.
Once in a while.